Bon appetit. Bon appetit. Bon appetit. Ministries. Ministries. Okay, welcome to Bon Appetit Ministries, and this is a program where we'd like to give you a meal idea or an appetizer or a dessert or something you could bring to a family party, a function, or a church picnic. And we want to not only feed you physically, but at the very end we want to give you a little spiritual snack, something to snack on spiritually, and give you a little Bible truth, and you're welcome to stick around for that. Today I have my garlic herb butter burgers. So I want to share a simple idea. It's a little different than just a plain burger. And I like to put a little flavored butter in the middle. And it's a garlic herb butter, especially if I'm cooking for a crowd. And I really want to be safe. And I'll tell you why. There's, salmonella is more prevalent nowadays. You didn't hear much about it in the old days, but it is now. So you want to be safe, especially if you're cooking for your family or a crowd, medium to medium well. And so that's about 160 degrees and above. But for my medium rare burger eaters like myself, don't worry, because what you lack in a little pinkness in the middle of the burger and that juice, that moistness, you're going to have in this succulent garlic herb butter that we place in the middle there. And it's so good because it's just going to add so much flavor in the middle of that burger and come right on up. It's just a burst of flavor in your mouth. So I think you'll really enjoy that. And we'll show you about this in just a moment. But 2 secrets to a good burger. Number 1, the cut of the meat. And number 2, the fat content. What do I mean by the cut of the meat? Well, ground chuck or ground round, or if you want to be classy, a little ground sirloin like I like to do. And then, of course, the fat content. 15 to 20% fat. Forget calories. You want that 15 to 20% fat. A succulent burger, the flavor is in the fat. And so, but I keep butter in the freezer with this wax paper around it, and I make a depression with my thumb in the burger, which I've already done. And I just cut this the size of a poker chip. Now, in the freezer, it'll last for 3 to 5 months. But it's not going to last long in the refrigerator, but maybe a week, 4 to 5 days. So, but I keep my butter in the freezer, and every now and then, and it was a whole lot longer. We've been using it in my family a little bit. So we'll go ahead and cut it. And like I said, just the size of a poker chip. You don't want it too thick because you've got to, you don't want your burger being too big. So I put it just like this, a little size of a poker chip, right in the middle where I've already put my thumb. I made a depression, and that's 5 ounces at the bottom. And you want to put a little 3 ounce, I got my scale here, and a little 3 ounces on top. You don't want a huge burger. Anything more than 8 ounces, it's going to be hard to cook. So, so 5 on the bottom and 3 on the top, and you just pack it in like that, and put a little foot drizzle of Yoshida marinade. This is the piece de resistance right here. And this marinade is so wonderful. And if I put just a little McCormick out there, my neighbors don't really say anything, but when I put this Yoshida marinade on there, and I'll marinate it for a day. I know you only need it 4 hours, but I'll marinate it for a whole 24 hours. And this marinade alone has a buttery even smell out there when you're cooking it. And so it's a wonderful flavor. And you don't want to put too much. Like I said, this is a burger that you've put together. It's not one that comes already together, so you don't want it to crumble. And so there it is. And now let me tell you a little bit about this garlic herb butter and how to put that together. All right, the garlic herb butter is finely chopped mixed fresh herbs, parsley, chives, basil, oregano, and or tarragon leaves. 1 tablespoon of each if it's fresh. If you're taking it out of your cabinet, you can Google the conversion rate if you want to be exact. I'll just do a teaspoon of each. 1 clove garlic minced, 1/2 teaspoon black pepper, 1 stick of salted butter, and leave it out for a while until it's soft. And then place the herbs, the garlic, the pepper, the butter in a small mixing bowl and beat it with a wooden spoon until light and fluffy. And you can do the beating in a mixer or a food processor. And then lay a 12-inch square piece of parchment paper on your work surface and mound the flavored butter in the center. Roll it up into a cylinder, twisting the ends to compact the butter. Chill the butter in the refrigerator or freezer until firm. Like I said, the flavored butter will keep for up to 5 days in the refrigerator, but up to 3 months in the freezer. To use, unwrap and roll and cut crossways into 1/2-inch slices, no bigger than maybe a little poker chip. And now let's go to the grill. So what I do is I make sure this grill is really hot, and I keep it on high for about 10 minutes. As you can see the levels here. And then I still keep it on high while I'm painting. I've got some extra virgin olive oil here that, we want the burgers to slide. We don't want any burger to stick. And so I just take a simple paintbrush and paint it on here. Alrighty, once we do that, then we go ahead and put our burgers on. This has got that Yoshida marinade. Righty. And what you're seeing is that flavor, that fat coming off and being burnt off, but it's also being burnt into the meat, and that's where the flavor is in the fat. And so what I'll do is now I'll shut it quickly because you don't want to keep it open too much. And then you put it down on, not all the way low. You got to know your own grill. If I put it all the way low, it's really low. So what I do is just halfway. But normally, the last grill I had, it got so hot that I'd have to turn it all the way down low, Now some people spend $800,000-$900,000 for a Weber grill. That's fine. I understand that. They're great grills in every way, shape, and form. But every 5 years, I just get one of these charbroil, and they go out. I just get a cheap one, And to me, it's all about the heat. We have fast-paced lives, and I just want to turn the propane on and cut it on and go. So that's what I do. Maybe one day when I retire, I'll spend more time and spend more money, but I just get the charbroil grills, and I'm happy with those. All right, it's been 5 minutes, and what we'll do is flip these burgers over. A lot of times I'll twist them to the side a little bit to get that spade look when we flip them back again, if we need to, for a couple more minutes left. Alrighty, there we go. All right, if you can see this garlic herb butter right in the middle. It's just melted and everything. Wow, that is so flavorful. Right there in the middle of the meat. Now we're gonna melt the cheese here, put it on the burger. And I like to put my little fixins on there. I like a little ketchup and mayonnaise. And whatever you want on your burger. And my mother has got these pickles that she does every year. 7/19 is the date. I love her pickles. And I'll put, you can see I've been hammering them. So I'll put a few on there. And that is so good. And just piece it all together with a little lettuce. All right. Now I'm going to bite into this puppy with the garlic and herb butter. Look at that. Yo. Isn't that nice? Here we go. You ready? Look at the juice coming off of that. Bon appetit. Bon appetit. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Something you can add to your repertoire. And now we want to feed your spirit. If you like coffee like I do, to get you a cup and sit down and we can have fellowship just for about 5 minutes of your time if we could. I'd like to talk about the Incarnation. And when we say Jesus Christ is God incarnate, well, what do we mean? Well, it means that Jesus, who is the non-created second person of the triune, God took on a human body. John 1:14 says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Well, the question I get quite often is, why did God have to become a man and die on a cross? I mean, why didn't he just forgive us? Why did he have to go through all that trouble and just bypass all that and just forgive us? Well, here's the answer just in short. I mean, this is just a very brief answer, but man was the offender. Man sinned, and the penalty has been pronounced upon all mankind, and must be therefore paid by man. But no finite man, being a sinner under the penalty himself, could pay the infinite penalty for all mankind. And that's why God had to become a man. If Jesus were not God and man in one person, he could not have paid the penalty for the sins of the world. Only an infinite man could pay the penalty. And I'm going to wet my whistle a little bit and get some coffee, and you think about that as I take a sip. And we must remember God is love, but God's love, grace, and mercy could not override his justice. And the penalty he has pronounced for sin must be paid. And for any human judge on this planet to fail in meting out any sentence demanded by the law would make him a partner in the crime. Why would we think God was any different? Mankind has a problem. Everything that is wrong in your life is a direct result or an indirect result of one word, and that word is called sin. And God has the solution to that problem, and it is not in something or someone, it's not in something, okay? That solution is in someone, and his name is Jesus. And Jesus died, was buried, and he rose again and from the dead so that all my sins and yours could be forgiven. 1 Corinthians 15:3-4 really sums up the whole gospel. It says, "For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures." Well, that's the whole gospel in one verse. Salvation is a work of God. Man cannot do this and save himself. You can give men a clean environment, and you can put anything you want in there, perfect health, prosperity, recycling, etc. It does not erase inward corruption. Man is an eternal being, and his greatest problem is internal. It is not the parents he went home with. I mean, you can't stand before God and say, well, I would have believed in you if it hadn't been for those rotten parents of mine. Everybody's got excuses why they can't come to God. I invited a man to church one time. He said, well, I really wasn't raised in church like you were. I said, well, you weren't raised in bars either, but you found your way in them, But the problem isn't how they raised you, whether you were breastfed or bottle fed, or whether you were raised on McDonald's fries or Wendy's, which doesn't have any trans fats. It doesn't matter how you were raised, if you were potty trained or how you went to college, or what college you went to. The problem is never out there. It's in here. It's in the heart. The heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. Amen? In conclusion, when you think of the Incarnation, it doesn't have to be a complete mystery. Just think of God in a man suit. Jesus was fully God and yet fully man. As a matter of fact, if Jesus would stop being fully God, even for 1 second, all life would die. Acts 17:28 says, "For in him we live, we move, and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring." Well, that's all for today, and we'll see you next time on Bon Appetit Ministries. And remember, Jesus said, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Thank you. Bon appetit.